these paragraph elements that we had created in order to understand all those tags over here. Now suppose that this particular paragraph tags, those are to be customized. Now we know the very basic fact that if we put a paragraph tag right over here, and if we set the background color to, for say we are providing a background color of yellow over here. So if we put this background color, we will see that each and every paragraph elements present inside this particular page will be having this particular background color, because we never mentioned any particularity. As we can see right over here, this is the background color which is provided in general to all paragraph elements. No discrimination practical. But if we want to have some sort of discrimination, then all we can do, we can individually get back to our project, and here any paragraph elements, those are practically present inside this paragraph tester, those will be having this sort of property, that means this background color property which is set to yellow here. So if we now copy this particular class name, and if we put it ahead, now if we put it ahead of this particular paragraph element, this is defining here that any paragraph element which is present inside this paragraph tester, it will be having a background color set to yellow. And on the other hand, you may conclude here that the padding in this particular case will be set to, for say 0.6 or 0.7 EM. Now if we reload and get back to our project, we can see that each and every of these paragraph elements, those are practically getting to its normal value. As we have seen in our previous cases, we haven't defined any definite properties set to all these paragraph elements inside some different div or block elements. But if we now get down, we can see that these paragraph elements, all these paragraph elements, those are practically present within this specific div element here, this paragraph tester div element. It will be set to this particular background color property, and it will be having a definite padding property. Now in order to understand that, let's press F12 and open up our code inspector panel and select any of these background elements. So if we now get back here into this right panel, let me widen it for you. Into this right panel, you can see that this paragraph tester P, that means any paragraph element which is present inside this class name of paragraph tester, it will be having this background color property and this padding property. If we uncheck these particular boxes here, we can see that in the first case the background is gone, and in the second case the padding is gone. And if we now uncheck both these boxes, we can see that both the properties are now gone. This is the inbuilt padding property that we had provided into this paragraph tester. Here it is, this is the padding. We had provided a padding of 1 em. So inside it, this is the paragraph element that we had created. Now let it get back to its original property and get to the top to any paragraph element that we had created. Here are those. We can see if we now select any one of them, we will be seeing that there's nothing specific about it. We haven't provided any kind of specification to all those properties, and actually those classes, if we now observe into this right panel, we can see that all those classes, all those properties are practically gone. Those are not seen over here. But in case of this particular paragraph tester holder, those properties are reverted back. Here it is. So that is why we could conclude that in order to create some specific properties for some specific block elements or elements as a whole, all we need to do, we need to mention this particular class name. In the very first case, we have mentioned this class name, and then we have mentioned that particular element whose properties are about to be changed. We have selected this paragraph element of this particular class, which is known as paragraph tester. Now, what happens if we provide this one? If we now press Ctrl S and get back to our project, first of all close this code inspector panel and get back to your project, and you can see that there's absolutely no such difference right over here. But now if we get back to index.html and inside this paragraph tester, for say we are now creating a span element, and for say we are copying this particular text over here from here and we are pasting it here. Now what we have done, we have practically created a span element inside this particular div with a class name of paragraph tester. So right now this paragraph element, on the other hand, all we need to do, we have to declare a paragraph element over here into this span element. Now this paragraph element, it is practically residing within a span element, which in turn is residing inside this particular paragraph tester, which is used against a particular block element. So now if we just reload, we can see that there comes that particular paragraph element, but it is not adopting any of these properties, those been mentioned in case of the behavior of the paragraph elements inside that particular div, which is holding a class of paragraph tester. So why it is?